Hey guys, welcome back to Chris and Retro. Tonight's video is going to be about Overdose Awareness Week, and yesterday was International Overdose Awareness Day. I didn't get a chance to get on here, and had intended to, just the day didn't allow for it. So I want to talk about the subject today. You know, we all hear about the crisis of drug overdose. We hear about the crisis, and if you turn on YouTube now and you've ever watched anything about overdose, I guarantee you there's going to be video after video after video about Kensington in Philadelphia, or any cities like bad area. You're going to see the same thing: people, zombies on the streets, and the grandiose reporting about what's going on there, but not really seeing the investment that's being made day in and day out by people trying to save people's lives. Overdose Awareness Week is to let you know how serious we're serious the situation is that we're in. Try that again, Chris. Can't speak tonight. I think that one of the things that makes us complacent is that we think it's just something in the news, and it couldn't be our home or our family or whatever. A lot of times people that are actively using drugs that can kill them are doing it quietly. That you don't know until it's too late. I mean, if you look at somebody that's had seasons of sobriety, those initial relapses are not obvious, and you get the call. I had an incident in my personal life. It was one of the worst calls I've ever received. December 13th, 2021. I thought that we were living a season of my loved one was doing well. I thought she was doing well. And through some mental health issues that had been triggered by a certain event, she had decided to partake rather than go into her mental health provider, and overdosed and almost died. And I got a phone call from the Brighton City Police saying they were actually in the Rochester area, and I'm not sure why they made the call, but it's close enough to the city. I guess there might have been some crossover, but they found her and called it in and called me and said that they're taking her for a wellness check and that she was okay, but it's still scary to get those phone calls. That set off a chain of events that's led to chronic illness and multiple additional overdoses, and just really never getting her feet underneath her because of that overdose. So overdose prevention is, more than it's awareness, but also prevention is more than just stopping people from overdosing and so they have to be Narcan. It's letting people understand that there's many more options to how bad your life can be because of your drug use that goes to that point. And so my message primarily is going to be about prevention. And what I believe from my own personal experience is my own addiction is alcohol, and I believe it is slightly different. But when we're speaking of overdose and the opioid crisis, that whole scenario, I feel the train is so far down the tracks on this that I'm not sure how we bring back even a sprinkling of the people that are actively in use. I don't know how to do that. I'm not sure there's a way. So what do? Well, we stop feeding that pipeline with more people that are just dying, and we get ahead of it and do it with rigor. And how it's not going to happen is people sitting around boxing people into certain places like Kensington and everywhere else, and Skid Row, and making these people come into notorious drug zones and have them that's be where they can stay and live and thrive, and people throw them food like they're in the zoo and drop off clothes every now and then, and in the meantime it's a high crime area, and somebody's little girl is out there selling her body for her drug, and men exploiting that, or men out there killing each other for their drug and their madness in their mind. But we can't as a society accept that that's how it's got to be, because it's not them over there. It's our families and our kids and our loved ones and the kids that we coach on baseball teams, and families, friends, and their kids and their grandkids, and our friends and the people we work with. And it's a lot of people feeding and going down that road. And I believe prevention is the key. There's some ways to get involved. And I guess that's what I would do tonight. And this is not going to be a long video. I would like to see more people get involved that don't really have a story, so to speak. I've got a story that makes sense for me to be involved. I've got a loved one that it makes sense for me to be involved. You may not have that story that's near and dear to your heart, but I can tell you that it does impact your life, and it does impact the world around you, and it's going to impact it more in the future. If you have a child anywhere near your crew, your family, anyone that you love, as a matter of just fighting for their future and the people that they're going to be going to school with, even if you don't know who they are, it's worth putting the fight in for prevention for kids, especially, so that we're not keep feeding people into Kensington's and into, for us, it's North Clinton and Joseph, and as Chad Mark talked about, Ghost Town, the northwest side of the city. These places where people go, and that's just part of what's going on there. We got to stop providing them with humans. That's impossible, I think, to stop the drugs, but we got to stop providing them with the customer. And the way to get ahead of that is by working rigorously in new ways with kids. I'm a volunteer ambassador. I've been with 5 years for an organization called Shatterproof. I've talked about it on the channel before. I believe in their mission, and they're evidence based. They support evidence based treatment. They support increased access to treatment, and they are proponents of anti stigma approaches. So for me, that takes on the light of, if somebody is doing well, their healthcare shouldn't be compromised because of what they once lived like. They should be treated as a human being. And so that organization, I believe, gets behind that message, and that's one of the reasons why I have supported them pretty heavily. There's plenty of places to get involved. That's one of them. But you must get involved. We're not going to get anywhere with this if we're not making progress, at least today. And we can't make progress today with the resources we currently have consistently or with any stamina whatsoever. We need new recruits and new people that understand exactly how serious this is. And even if it's not drugs or mental health or suicide or whatever else, if you haven't co-signed and understood exactly how serious that is for youth right now, then you're not informed, and you're choosing not to know. It's about people. It's not about the version of affliction they have on them. It's about people. And this mental health component covers an awful lot of things. So we need to invest and we need to get involved. I'm asking you to please do that. You don't have to do it with Shatterproof. There's plenty of places around where you could. This week's certainly a great one to find out who's doing what, because there's a lot of vigils and things like that in every one of your towns. Now, I'm going to share with you something real quick here. These are people that, you and I don't know. But on the Shatterproof website, we have this memorial. And if you look at the names here, 33, 34, 39, 42, 22, 27, 30, 43. You start seeing the name 30, 27. I say kids a lot here, but if you noticed, it's a mix. People are living a while like this, and then finally the carpet gets pulled off from under them and they're dead. That's one page. And I'm not even sure how many pages there are. We skipped to page 7 of all these, but these are memorials where people have sent in so that we remember their loved ones. I look at these pictures and I can't help but think that many of these pictures were people in seasons of recovery. I look at some of the lives they must have lived and some of the things they must have done to get them beyond for a while, where they may have seen hope and what brought them back. There's 2 areas of prevention. There's never going there in the first place and then never going back once you get out there. I think both we need to fight hard for. The kids, this one in the bottom here, 40-year-old woman with a child in the picture. It's troubling to me. I look at all these young women and how many of them have been exploited for their drug. How many children every holiday wonder where mom and dad is in this world? It's not just one anymore. It's a lot of times both. Because if you look at historically, a lot of people got into drugs because of a dating relationship. They got into, especially IV drugs, has been because of somebody they were around looking for a little bit more of a high, and they tried it once and that was it. Now I'm speaking from my own bias. I've got personal reasons why I'm for this. Some of it started out as just based on my own recovery journey, and then the relationship that I've been in that had, she struggles with addiction heavily, has good days, bad days. There's prevention that says we're never going back, and there's prevention to not get there in the first place. Guys, I hope you take this message tonight and just consider what your role is. I'm not saying that everybody has to be out there as zealots saving people's lives. But if you've got a kid or a program somewhere around you or a child in your family, take the time to invest. Let them know they have value and worth. Help them start seeing aspirations and dreams beyond what it is they're dealing with. Help them understand a purpose. It might not be their ultimate purpose, but it's something. It's progress for them today. I've had children in my own life that have struggled with mental health stuff. And you see them light up when they realize they have value and they have purpose and they have things that they can do that can help clear their mind from all the things the world's telling them. We've done some terrible things to kids in this world by isolating them and scaring them and mandating that they stay away from other children and stay in their room for 2 years and not be around other people. For what? For what? For nothing is what. And now we're, going into a political season and threatening it again. We've screwed these kids up and it's our fault. So we need to double down on making sure we're there for them and help them have hope and options and have a light and see there's possibilities in this world, because there are. Some seasons are harder than others, but you can still have hope. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, share the content. Consider what you can do between now and the next time we talk. Just go through, consider what's out there for you. It doesn't have to be a full-time gig. Maybe once in a while, maybe once a year you do something. Who knows? There's kids going back to school right now. My friend Chad Mark, he just did a whole drive for kids. Great work he's doing in his old community. Sneakers, shirts, all this other stuff. I thought he did such a nice job. Those are things you can do too. It's one day. Go do that work. It's maybe 20 sets of clothes. Go do that work. Guys, between now and the next time we talk, please consider the options that you can do. And by all means, stay out of trouble.